Hi, this is Steve Walton from Tropic Heating and PatioHeat.com. Today we're going to take a look at this property here. What we have is a restaurant level up here and then a pool area over here with this pool cabana area down over here. I'm going to go through this rather quickly because this is just preliminary and I can't go through all the details at this one setting unless we have some more information. And specifically up here with regards to the slope ceiling, I think it's sloped. I'm not quite sure, but I'm under the impression it is, and I want to address that issue separately. So here we go. First, we'll get some dimensions. So basically 86 feet, 9.5 on the downslope side, and I believe this was 12.2 on the top slope side. There's a wall right here that I have kind of faded there. 16.8 is this overhang, and then we have some space over here as well that will probably not receive much heat unless we put something out here, and I think that's okay at this point. Also, I noticed that they have this plan for these draped lights, which you need to consider the heater. You can't have a wire hanging across the face of the unit itself. So number one, and this will be the gas heaters up here that are this would be my recommendation. I know that they are looking at possibly placing these heaters a little bit differently, but these are the TSH models, so they're 34,000 BTUs up to that, and they're and the reason I have them out here on the edge is because you get a better distribution of the heat, but when you do that, you need to maintain this clearance, and I'm not sure why it changed here, but it should be 13. Yeah, it's okay, we're good. 13 inches here, and from the top to a combustible, this being the combustible here. I know that this is a little bit higher in here, but I'll address that in just a few minutes. But the reason why I chose this elevation is because this would be considered the combustible. You need 18 inches off the side in order to meet the combustible clearance above. And so let's just look at the ray real quick here, and you'll see with the ray we get a nice coverage this way, decent I should say. You get a little bit of overlapping. I'd like to say quite a bit of overlapping here. Actually, you're getting about 4 feet of overlapping in the middle, which is a little bit more than you really want, but that's okay. You can actually move these heaters a little bit to the left and get a little bit better of a spread, and that ray would come out a little bit further. But you can see here the overlapping is predictable and acceptable here. So you got about 2 feet of overlap here. If I go to the original way that they had wanted these heaters, you can see that the heaters are a little bit closer together, so that way you're meeting the 18 inches of clearance over here, and then but your heaters are very close together here, so you're getting about 5 feet of overlap, which is quite a bit, and then you're missing some between those openings here. And so this is okay, but I would prefer the other if that's possible. Now with this, you can reduce the clearance from the top of the heater to this edge. Now another thing you have to be concerned about is I noticed that the difference, there are different elevations in here. Like this one here, for instance, was rather high, this lid on this opening, and you cannot locate the heater inside of the soffit because it's going to just engulf itself in all the exhaust, and then it's going to burn out basically. So this set of heaters would have to be lowered no matter what in order to meet just the exhaust issue. So you'd want it something of this nature where the exhaust is flowing out and it's not breathing its own exhaust. And so that might be true with a couple of them. That one was in particular. Here's another one here, and I'm just going off of the finished floor elevations that the architect's plan showed. So let's see here, if we move this one down, or we can go, basically we can go to the top of this edge here and then move it I would move it at least 4 inches down. That way you have ample fresh air mixing with the exhaust air. Excuse me. Let me just shut that real quick. And in any case, that's these heaters, the gas heaters. These are again TSHs, and we need to make sure we're meeting that clearance there on all units, all locations here. So the next idea would be something if we went to all electric heaters and we placed them with electric heaters, we required 8 inches of clearance from this bottom edge or the ceiling to the top of the soffit here. So that's a minimum 8 inches of clearance. And as you can see here, if it's sloped, I have to have these units level, otherwise my elements will deteriorate rather quickly. If I put them at an angle, they'll slide, the elements will start to droop to the low side. So I need those heaters level if I'm going to do something like this. Just to give you an idea what that looks like. And again, the coverage is fairly good coverage. You can see here we got this little bit of a open edge here, but that's going to be true throughout this location. Alright, so next that I want to look at, oh, and by the way, these are 240 volt 6,000 watt units, and you can actually control those high low, so you can actually go from 1% on to 100% on. And then the little cabana area. So I'm not sure if we did the dimensions on this cabana real quick here. So we have at the bottom of the combustible trellis, I'm not sure what the size trellis is going to be, but I have 4x4s. This is 8 and 3 inches. Sorry for the movement here. 9 feet 1 inch, and total length here is 39 feet opening. And so if we went with gas heaters, these are the TSHs again, the ones that they had spec'd in, and that would be something of this nature here. So you can see that we need clearance here, and that clearance when you angle the heater is 17 inches. So you can see here I have it just about 17 inches. So what I did here is I just I rotated the bracket on the mount here. You could mount it on the ceiling, that would be fine, but then these are 4x6. I have these as 4x4s, and this is a 6-inch bracket. So if I mounted them over here, I can just rotate this, punch a new hole over here, and then get the angle I'm looking for here. And then also you can see that I've sorry, my mouse is really moving around quickly. You can see here that I've moved the angle, changed the angle slightly here, so I got decent coverage within the space. Let's turn on that ray here. You can see that I'm hitting this whole area quite nicely. Now it is rather low, so that would be a very big concern. You can see this gentleman here is about 5'6", and that would be a very low application. I'm not sure that that would meet the any of the standards. So you want to take a look at that. I think the national, excuse me, there's a code that says that a gas heater must be at least X amount of inches above above the floor, and I'm not sure if that applies here, but we can discuss that. Now, one thing is pretty intense right here, so you could go with a 25,000 BTU heater, which would allow you to move the heater up 4 inches, but it's not going to be as intense, and a lot of people aren't very pleased with the total output of the 25,000, so it's something to consider. Another thing I would recommend on this particular application is going with a all electric heater. So all electric heaters, I don't know if you can see, I've centered each one into these spaces here, but it would give you a really nice appearance if you had a wood surface here. I know there's I think an I-beam that goes across the front here, but you can see that it's rather well disguised. And if you turn on the ray, you can see that the ray would penetrate the seating area quite nicely. You got kind of a protected surround back here, so that's really great. And these would be the I think I have these at 4,000 watts. So yeah, these are a C series 4,000 watt heater, and you could again turn these on to their own controls. You can individually switch them for each location, and if you wanted to, you could actually put, like I said, the dimming type of system on there. And I don't think you'd really want to. The expense of that would be probably not that beneficial overall, but certainly you can. Up here, if you had electric heaters, the control system would be beneficial because you can really control it, and there's a lot of heaters up here. So, and then just lastly, I threw a couple of sun glow heaters out here in the pool deck area. I wouldn't scatter them all around here, but there's some reclining areas here that might be nice to consider. So, oh, and just a quick thing, this clearance up here, these are 6 inches of clearance to any combustible, 6 inches to the side and 6 inches to the top, as well as there's 18 inches of clearance on the left and right. However, these are non-combustible I-beams in my understanding here. So there you have it. That's what I wanted to show for today. If there's any questions, please give me a call. I'm Steve Walton from Tropic Heating and PatioHeat.com. If you're looking for some help in your outdoor application, feel free to give us a call. Thank you very much. Have a great day.